Book 2, Chapter 10, Miracles. Up early. What am I going to wear for my presentation? It doesn't matter, I think at first. I do want a good grade though, so I want to give a nice presentation. Just like when Charles wore a suit for the talent show. It made a big difference on his presentation. I decide to wear my casual pants and a shirt, not too dressed up, but a step up from my jeans and t-shirt. Sky Charles is eager to be outside, and Hemingway enjoys having breakfast with everyone in the morning. Good morning, I announce as I enter the kitchen. My goodness, Finnan, don't you look handsome today? Thank you, Mom. It's for my presentation, and I want a good grade. Dad, how old do you think the watch is if it belonged to my great-great-grandfather? My dad replies, I know, Finn. There is a date inside the box underneath the material. I think it dates back to the early 1800s. Wow, I think to myself, it's really old. Are you ready for your big day? My dad asks with a joyful tone. I am, Dad, I answer. Then, smiling at him, I ask back, Are you? I haven't stood in front of a class since I was in public school, so I am sure I will be more nervous than you. You can take your mom's cell phone today and call us when it's time for me to meet you. Just give me about half an hour before you need me. Okay, Dad, I'll be sure to ask Mr. Willis as soon as I see him. Breakfast is delicious. Toaster waffles with maple syrup, real Canadian maple syrup. I love the glass bottle it comes in. It has a picture of a large red maple leaf on the front. Everyone is ready to get on with the day. I head to my room to retrieve the watch to give to my dad. I open the top drawer of my dresser and take out the box. Gently, I open the box to look inside. I can feel my hand tingle, as it always does when I hold the watch. I pick the watch out of the box and ask it to give me the right words to share with my classmates. I hear a gentle whisper, like in my imagination. You will have the right words. Talk about goodness. Goodness, I think to myself. Do people want to hear about goodness? I will do my best, I say out loud, putting the watch back to its original position. Here, Dad, here is the watch to bring with you. Thank you, Finnan. The box is as impressive as the watch itself. Thank you, Dad, for coming with me. I really appreciate your help. I bet you will be the only dad there. He starts to laugh. I am sure you are right. I've been so eager to get to school to ask Mr. Willis if my dad can be part of my show and tell presentation. There are a few people already in class when I get to his desk to ask. Mr. Willis, I was wondering if my dad could join me for my show and tell presentation. I want to show my great-grandfather's watch, but I don't want to lose it at school. It is very valuable because it has been handed down many generations. Mr. Willis's eyes light up. That would be great, Finnan. We will really enjoy that. What time should I ask my dad to be here? We are having our presentations after lunch. Why don't you do yours first? This way, your dad doesn't have to wait. How about if he meets you at 1 o'clock? That's really great, Mr. Willis. I have my cell phone to let them know. Can I call home now before class starts? Of course, Finn. I call home and speak to my mom. Please ask Dad to be here for 1 o'clock. He will have to sign in at the front office, and I will meet him there. My mom is really happy for my dad and I to have a project to do together. I'm still not sure what I'm going to say about the watch. Do I share the whole story or just the highlights? Will they believe me? Will they laugh? Will they think it's the coolest thing ever? I guess I won't know until I'm standing at the front of the class with the watch in my hand and my dad by my side. The bell rings for first recess. We all grab a snack and meet out at the bench. The bench is getting smaller because now there are 4 of us sitting there. Max doesn't join us all the time. I think it's only a matter of time before he sees that Limerick really likes Charles. Max has many girls who like him. As for myself, I think that girls just don't notice me. Maybe I will get noticed more today, because I am wearing nice clothes. Limerick takes her usual seat between Charles and I. Max sits on the end beside me. We talk about our presentations, and the others want to know what I am going to show. I say, it's a secret, but just so you know, Charles, my dad will be coming. Really? Charles asks with excitement. Limerick, you are really going to like Finn's father. He is a really cool dad. Are we all still getting together after school on Friday? Limerick asks. I nod, saying it's all good with my parents. They could even stay for dinner. I look at Max. I ask him if he would like to come as well. Max looks out at the playground to the group of girls he normally hangs out with and says he will be doing something else. I look at the girls, then at Max, and I say, aren't you the lucky one? And I nudge him with my elbow. Max says, it's not like that, Finn. I have to be home because my brother has a big basketball game that we all have to attend. That sounds like a lot of fun. Max says it is, but he gets tired of watching all the games. He keeps staring at the group of girls, then excuses himself from the bench and walks over to them. They are giggling as he walks over. Back to the three of us. I ask Charles what he will be doing for show and tell. Charles pulls a rock out of his pocket. What is that? I ask him. It is my lucky rock. I keep it in my pocket. In fact, I bring it wherever I go. The rock is really smooth. It has a few different earth colors. That's a great rock, Charles. Where did you get it? I found it when I was out walking. It was on the sidewalk, just sitting there. It was really noticeable. I didn't understand why it was there. I picked it up and it felt good in my hand. It didn't seem to belong to anyone. There were no houses close by, so I put it in my pocket. Limerick asks, does it bring you good luck? He replies, well, I'm talking to you. Limerick blushes, and I suddenly feel that I am in the way. What will you be showing, Limerick? She pulls out a beautiful hairpiece that was used back in the olden days. This belonged to my grandmother, and it is very dear to my heart. I don't wear it because I don't want to lose it. It's too fancy anyway. It's beautiful, I say. It looks like a brooch. My mom has brooches passed down from my grandmother. It's very old, Limerick says. People don't wear things like this anymore. We finish our snacks just as the bell rings to go back in. I'm starting to get nervous about my presentation at 1 o'clock. I'm going to be the first, and I really don't know what to say. I pull out my geometry set so I can focus on yellow Italy. Mr. Willis only pulls down the world map during geography class. I'm really glad I have found another yellow Italy to look at. Time is going by quickly and slowly, all at the same time. I watch the minute hand go around and around as we work on our timetables. Timetables are no more fun in grade 5 than they were in grade 4. Lunch is fun. Charles is eager to see my dad. He hasn't seen him in a while. Now Charles and I are anxious to introduce him to Limerick. She is full of life, and she adds a sort of bubbliness to Charles. He smiles a lot when she is around. We really enjoy her accent, and sometimes we try to imitate it. Limerick laughs because we do such a poor job. Then she tries to imitate our accent, the way she hears us speak, and we laugh at her. It's all in good fun. The bell rings. Lunch is over, and it is time for me to share for show and tell. I meet my dad at the office. Finn, are you okay? He asks. You look a little pale. I'm okay, Dad. Just really nervous. I hope nobody laughs at the story. Finnan, how can anyone laugh? They are going to be intrigued. They are going to be fascinated. Do you really think so, Dad? Yes, Finn, I do. And it is me who should be nervous. We both start to laugh as we head down the hallway to my classroom. Before we enter the room, we look at each other and give a nod, as if to say, let's do this, sort of like a high five without doing an actual high five. Do you have the watch? Yes, Finn, I have it right here. He pulls a box out of his pocket. We enter the classroom. My classmates just stare. No one expected a father to show up for show and tell. Class, Mr. Willis stands and announces, we will be starting our show and tell presentations. Did everyone bring something? Yes, people nod. Everyone has remembered to bring something. Everyone looks really nervous, including my dad and I. Okay, we will get started. I would like to introduce our first presentation. Please give a warm welcome for Finnan and his father. Everyone claps as we take our place at the front of the classroom. I keep thinking that yellow Italy is behind me. I feel peace. Good afternoon, my dad says in a shaky voice. Everyone replies, good afternoon. My dad looks to me as if to say, okay, Finn, you're up. I take a step forward and say, today I would like to share with you my great-grandfather's watch. I asked my dad to come in because I was too concerned about losing it if I were to bring it to school myself. It was Dad's watch before he gave it to me, so he can also share stories about the watch. To my surprise, we have everyone's complete attention. My dad hands me the box, and I show it to everyone. One voice says, it looks old. It is very old, I reply. I set the box on the corner of Mr. Willis's desk. I place my hands on top of the box, and I can feel the tingling again. I open the box slowly. That seems to impress everyone. I place my hand in and remove the watch from the box, leaving the lid open. The watch has a chain attached, so I hold the chain and the watch. I don't want to drop it, being so nervous and all. This is my great-grandfather's watch, and it was his father's before that. The class is intrigued. This watch has been handed down a number of generations, my dad adds. I say, I know you probably won't believe my story, but this watch has special powers. Everyone sits up. What do you mean, Finn? Mr. Willis asks. The story that has been passed down many generations goes like this. I begin with a very strong voice. I can't be nervous, or they will think I'm telling a lie. If one holds the watch in silence, let's say in a very quiet room, the watch can guide the person holding it towards an answer for something that perhaps is troubling him or her. Like if you have a question or want to seek guidance on what to say to someone, it will give an answer. Can it give you the winning lottery numbers? Someone asks from the back of the room. Everyone laughs, including my dad. This is becoming really fun. Can you give us an example? Mr. Willis asks. I think so, I reply. I hold the watch, and even though the room is filled with people, I can feel the tingling in my hand. I just know my great-grandfather is going to share a message. I'm not sure how it works exactly, I say. It could be my imagination, but the words are always kind, so I just listen. I hold the watch. Everyone goes quiet, waiting for something to happen. My dad also waits, and all at once I say, if everyone could be kind to one another, school would be a lot more fun. Everyone starts to laugh. I smile and say, see, it is always something kind. Compassion is the key to all greatness, I mutter, and the words just keep coming. If everyone could understand that we are all the same, we would always be kind to another. A voice says, it's kind of like a fortune cookie. My dad starts to laugh. Yes, it is. And then he says, the words come from the heart of the one who holds the watch. It is like a fortune cookie, but one that gives loving guidance. One of the boys from the back of the room says, Do you think any watch can do that? The room goes quiet and I hear the words, "Your heart will always guide you if you listen to the whisper." I take a deep breath and without care at how fluffy it sounds, I repeat what I have heard out loud. One girl says, "That sounds really cool. Can we see inside of the watch? Can we hold the watch?" Mr. Willis asks my dad for permission to let someone else hold the watch. My dad says, "Sure, let's ask Charles to hold the watch." My dad knows Charles is very kind and responsible. Charles is proud, and when he gets to the front of the class, he shakes my dad's hand. Everyone thinks that is cool. Charles puts his hands together. I place the watch gently in the palms of his hands. Charles is very quiet. He says out loud that the watch feels warm. Everyone seems intrigued. It's like a magic show. Charles cups the watch in his hand and closes his eyes. He knows he is center stage, and as an author, he wants it to be truthfully dramatic. He closes his eyes. He concentrates. The room goes silent again. Then Charles speaks without hesitation. "I think it's only my imagination, but the watch says we should all get an A+ on our presentation today." The class cheers, everyone claps. It's great fun. If Charles could hear his voice, he'd know that my great-grandfather would actually have said this, as he always had such a good sense of humor. Charles stands quietly. The room falls silent once again. My dad is looking at me as if to say, "See, I knew it would be okay." Then he gives me a wink. The class sits, watching anxiously. Mr. Willis is also watching, waiting intently. "Being kind to others will create miracles." "Wow," Charles says. "I wasn't expecting that." "What did it say?" a gentle voice asks. "Being kind to others will create miracles." Mr. Willis says, "I think everyone should write that down." Everyone gets out a notebook and jots the words down. Mr. Willis also writes it on the board. Charles hands the watch back to me, and when I hold it, I hear the words, "Good job, Finn." I smile as I place the watch back into the box. "Any questions?" Mr. Willis asks as Charles is taking his seat. Everyone starts asking questions. My dad and I answer them one by one. Everyone is interested. They think the presentation is really intriguing, especially Charles. Our time is up. It is time for the next presentation. My dad shakes Mr. Willis's hand. He places his other hand on my shoulder to give me encouragement for doing a good job. He looks at Charles and gives him a wink, and then goes off on his way. As I take my seat, I can hear, "Finn's dad is really cool." I am very proud as I sit down. I silently give gratitude to my great-grandfather. Today is a perfect day for a perfect gift. I knew this to be true when I saw the words written on the blackboard in big letters that hold the key to greatness. The presentations are all really good. It is amazing what people share, all the different stories. I like this kind of show and tell because we were able to ask questions during the presentation. I think it makes it easier for the one presenting, more like having a conversation than doing a presentation. It's a lot easier than I thought it would be. The presentations take up most of the afternoon. I am ready to go home by the time the final bell rings.